What up, everyone? Back for another video. This time around we got some boxes. So I wanted to get a little bit organized because every time I do my monthly review of boxes, it's just a big Mod Podge of different months because some companies send their boxes right away at the first of the month and some companies send it like 2 or 3 months late. So it's always so confusing. So I wanted to really get organized and stick to one particular month. So what's happening here, these are leftover boxes from one month, and I'm going to do October's boxes all together. That way it's much more organized, and if people are curious what came on what month, you can look directly on the videos of that month instead of searching around for it. I think it'll just make it easier, make it a little more simple, make it easier to understand, and that way we're not getting two of certain boxes in my reviews. So I wanted to be a little more organized that way. But of course, as soon as I decide to do that, Loot Crate announces that their box is going to be delayed like another full month. So October's box for Loot Crate isn't going to be coming till almost December. So that kind of throws a wrench into the whole thing because they'll be incredibly late. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. If it doesn't really matter to you what month it is as long as there are a lot of boxes, or if you'd like them more organized per month, because at this point, since they're coming so unfortunately late, it kind of seems a little redundant. But I'm trying my best here. Either way, these are 3 boxes that we have here, the leftover ones from September, that would have been duplicate boxes if I did them in a separate video. Then we're going to have all the boxes of October as soon as Loot Crate gets here for their October, and then November and so on and so forth. That way I can title the video the specific month and year, and I feel like that'll just be a lot more organized. But, you know, it's just a thought. Let me know what you think in the comments. But there are these 3 boxes that did not get reviewed, so I want to go through them in a little mini ultimate unboxing and review. So it's just the basic ones, the ones that come every month. We got Geek Fuel, Loot Crate, and Bam Box. Most of the other ones are bi-monthly and quarterly, so these are like the 3 that are always going to show up. So these are the ones that are going to get their own little review right now. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it and start talking about some shit. So first, we got Geek Fuel. And in the box, we got a shirt, of course. And I actually really like the shirt. Had a cool design. Ta-da! So we got the Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings, and it's in like an NES Nintendo style. I don't think this is from an actual game. I could be wrong. I'm sure there was a Lord of the Rings game at some point or another, but I don't. From what I know, this wasn't particularly from a game, but it might have been. Either way, it's a cool shirt. It's a cool design, and Geek Fuel really does a good job, good quality on their shirts. So as far as a score on the shirt, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Good quality in the shirt. I like the design. Very clever. And they didn't do some outrageous color, just keeping it simple and black. I like that. I couldn't... That's exactly what I'm looking for in a shirt. So yeah, 8 out of 10. Good job. Next, we got a plush from Harry Potter. Now this actually is from Quantum Mechanics, believe it or not. They actually do make some plush dolls. And the quality on it is very nice. This isn't just some cheap, like, fair toy. This actually has good quality. There's some good sewing, little, like, leather pieces. So it's very well done. Me, personally, I'm not a big fan of the plush in general. Nothing against it. It's just very hard to display. Plushes are usually a little bit bigger because they're cheaper to make. So they take up a lot of space. And they're often very hard to display because they don't stand on their own. This one's okay, though. This one's pretty sturdy. Like I said, the quality's very nice on this. So, yeah, the quality's nice, but again, not a big plush fan. So talking about the values, the shirt gets the standard $12 to $15 value, as it always does. The plush is going for around $15. I'm actually not sure how much Quantum Mechanics was originally charging. I'm assuming close to that amount, probably $20, because they're just a very nice company. They do good quality stuff. But it's selling for around $15, so that's the value we're going to get on that. But if you are a fan of plush dolls, figures, whatever you call them, this is actually very nice in quality. So good job, Quantum Mechanics. Next, we got a little book. And this is the complete covers of Detective Comics. It's a tiny little book. And there's just all the different covers from all the different comic books over the years, going all the way back to the 30s. This is really cool. I like this. I like these little mini books. They're just fun and adorable, and they're kind of cool to put on display. And, you know, this one doesn't have a ton of information or anything like that. It's literally just the covers. I wish they had a little more, like, information, maybe talking about them a little bit. But that's okay. I like these little books. I like that they're hardcover. This is very cool. I like it. Good idea. Unfortunately, the value on this is very, very low. I'm assuming a lot of other people didn't like it because it's not selling online. And when it is selling, it's selling for a very low price. So the value on this is only going to be like $6 or $7. I would assume the MSRP, yeah, it says it right here, is $11.99, which that's what I would have assumed it would have been. But the resale value on it's only going to be like $6 or $7. So it's up to you whether you value it at the original price, $11.99, or the resale value, which is $6 or $7. I always go on the resale value, just FYI. Last, we got a pin. This one was kind of weird. So we got one Pin Pals, which I'm sure have a partnership with because we always get Pin Pals from them. They do decent pins, and the packaging's always nice. And we got one from Pizza Hut, which I thought was cool because Pizza Hut always had cool partnerships with Marvel and DC and a whole bunch of different shit. But then we got one from this goofy-ass book club. You can see right there, it just says book it. It was like some, I don't know what you call it, not a competition, but some like fundraiser thing back in like the 90s where you read books and then you get a pin. And I personally, I thought it was kind of lame because there's so many things I was expecting to be in there that were really cool, and it's some stupid pin you got for reading a book. It's like, oh my gosh, like even as a kid I wouldn't have liked that. But, you know, it's actually selling for a decent amount, so it is selling online. People are actually looking for this pin. Maybe there are people that just were part of that book club back in the day and just are getting it for nostalgia purposes. I don't know. Personally, I don't get it, but it's going for like $10 to $12, so there you go. $10 to $12 on the pin. So that's all that was in the box. So once again, it seems like they're missing an item. Usually they have 5 items, and this month and last month they only had 4. So it seems like they're missing some. And honestly, it seems like they're struggling a little bit. They were such an awesome box when they went back to the monthly system, and the months after that have just kind of been so-so. So as far as total value on this box, on the low end is $43 and on the high end is $49, which isn't great. This box is a little over $30, and I think for me it's like $32, something like that, depending on where you live. So it's a little over $30, so the value wasn't fantastic. Not horrible, but nowhere near double, but at least you're getting what you paid for. And they have good picks. That's what I can always say about Geek Fuel. The things they pick are usually pretty good. They have good taste is what I'll say. Things that they put in the box are things that I typically would like. And they take the time to make good quality shirts, so I like that. But the past few months, it just seems like there's one item short. Like they should have one other thing. So I should mention that, I don't know if they count this as an item or not, but they always put these little things in here. Like on this little thing right here, it says free bookmark. Bonus bookmark right there, and it's literally just the printing on this cardboard. So I don't know if they're trying to make it 5 items and they're just struggling money-wise, so they're doing these cheap little gimmicks. It kind of seems like that's the case here. They want to put a 5th item in there, but they don't have any extra funding, so they do something like that where it's a bookmark. Or a lot of companies will do a sticker or something like that, which makes me a little worried that this company might be struggling because they were doing so good for so long. It'd be a real shame to see this box go because it's really withheld against the test of time, and it's got some good partnerships. So I'd be really bummed if they started losing money and went out of business. But hopefully it's just a fluke. Hopefully what all these companies are saying, hope that COVID's just delaying shipping and things like that, I'm hoping that's the cause of it, but we'll see in the future months. So overall score on this box, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 because it was still good. Good choices, good quality stuff. Value wasn't quite there. I wasn't a fan of the pin, and other people weren't a fan of the book, so not perfect, but good enough to where I still enjoyed it. So 6 out of 10, Geek Fuel. All right. This will be a nice and short video. Next on the list, we got Loot Crate. The latest box of them all. And they keep blaming COVID, and I want to believe them, but at the same time, it's like, you know, no other company's having as much problem with shipping as they are. So I don't know if that's just an excuse they're using. It's tough to say, but they're extremely late all the time. Even the turtle box that I recently did a review on was extremely late. This was extremely late, and like I said, the October box is coming to not until almost December, and I'm sure November's box won't come till like the 1st of next year, something ridiculous. So I feel like at this point they should just like skip a month, return people's money, and say the October box should just be the November box or something like that, just to catch themselves up. Because they're going to be in this constant thing of always being late. Just skip a month for everyone, refund a month worth of money, and then just start fresh and new. And, you know, that's my opinion. But nobody cares what I think, so whatever. All right. First off, we got a shirt, as we always do. And this one, we got a Predator shirt. Ta-da! So this one's pretty cool. I mean, it's very subtle. Doesn't have Predator in there because he's in his little camo, whatever you want to call it. I think that's cool. I like the design on it because it is subtle. I do like shirts like that. I don't necessarily like shirts where it's just like the character right there. It's fine, but I like shirts that are a little more subtle. It's nerdy, but it's not like over the top. And usually their shirts are over the top. Usually, like I said, they're these bright blue, bright red, like gnarly colors all over the place, stupid designs on there. It's just like, too much, too much. Tone it down a little bit. And this is what they do. So I appreciate that. So I like to think that they're listening because that's exactly what they did. They did some muted colors, black. Everyone likes a black shirt. Everyone wears black. It's very common. And it really contrasts with the color on here. So I think they did good on that. The only problem with Loot Crate is the quality of the shirts are not great. For a company that has a box called Loot Wear, where it's literally just clothes, quality on the shirts is not great at all, and I usually can't wear them. I wish they'd take a page from the Geek Fuel book and do some nicer quality shirts, because they have some cool designs, but I can never wear them because they're just so awkwardly fitting or like really rough material, so which is very unfortunate. I wish they'd spend a little extra $1 or $2 and really make it worth people's while. So as far as the score on the shirt, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 because I do like the design, but the quality of the shirts are not good, so I usually can't wear them anyway because they're so uncomfortable or so awkwardly fitting. And it gets the standard $12 to $15 value, but 6 out of 10 score on the shirt. All right, next, we got a G.I. Joe figure. I was so disappointed to see this because they did such horrible figures. They did I can't remember what the character was, that girl from G.I. Joe that looked so awkward, and they did that really awkward Wonder Woman. Then they did the Guardians of the Galaxy figures, that 4 set. Those were awesome. Those were really good. And then they went back to the G.I. Joe. Like, why? The only thing I can think that makes sense in my mind is that they made a series of G.I. Joe figures, and then they saw how much people hated that first one, and then canceled the series, but they probably still had the mold of this one already set, so they weren't going to waste money, so they just put it in the box. Or at least that's what I'm hoping. I really don't want to see a full set of these G.I. Joe ones, because they're still pretty awkward. Now, I will say, here's the figure, by the way. It is getting better. So he's a little awkward looking. His neck's a little overly long, and they got the big thigh thing going on. But it is much better. It looks a lot better than that girl we had. Again, I'm blanking on the name. So it's better in quality, but still not great or fantastic or anything like that. It's still pretty weird looking, but not horrible. And the good news is it is actually selling. So this is not only a much more popular character, but the design of it is a lot better than the previous one. So the value on this is actually going for like $15 to $20. And it's selling for that, surprisingly. So maybe this is a sign of things to come. Maybe they're learning from their mistakes and designing things a little bit better. But either way, wasn't a big fan of even this line of G.I. Joe ones. I wish they'd go back to more of the Guardians of the Galaxy style, the pieces that fit together, the art style of it, the design of it. Those were really great. This one's just so-so, and the one before was absolute crap. But this one's selling pretty well, $15 to $20. So that's the value on that. Next, we got a keychain. This is a Bebop and Rocksteady keychain. So it's kind of like a coin, and you flip it around, and Bebop's on the other side. And this is actually really nice. It's actual metal, and it's like solid metal. It feels kind of like brass, so it's pretty heavy right there. I don't know if it says what it's made of. Nope. But good quality keychain. The placement of Rocksteady's head's a little weird, though. It seems like very off-center to me, which is kind of weird. But it's I don't know why his face isn't more centered. I know they wanted to fit the horn in, but they could have centered it a little more. That's a little bit awkward. But other than that, it's a good quality keychain, and if you're a fan of Bebop and Rocksteady, that's for you. So the value on this was right around $10, which is fair. Keychains can be anywhere from like $5 to $10 or $12, depending on what they're made of. And this is actual like quality metal, so that gets some value there. Then we got a pin, Megatron, and there were some other Transformers that were options as pins. This is actually really nice. Loot Crate usually cheaps out on the pin, and they're not bad or anything. They just do really cheap basic designs like the circle ones and a really simple design. This one's actually done really well. It's got some detail into it, which I was surprised about. So I'm hoping they're stepping their pin game up because I like it a lot better with the square backing. It's much easier to display on a pin board because when you have the ones with the circles, there's always that space in between. I wasn't a fan of that at all. So I like this much better, so I hope that's a sign of things to come. The value on that was right around $10 as well. So that brings our total value on the low end 47, on the high end 55. So pretty decent on the value, pretty close to double the value. And, decent quality stuff. Not great, not my personal choices. I have small complaints about everything here, but still good overall. So I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I think some people would like it. Some people probably have the same complaints I do. Some of these things you can resell. Some of them are practical. So it did decently, like not mind-blowing, not fantastic, but, good enough to where it's acceptable and it's still enjoyable. So there's that. Loot Crate. Alrighty. Let's jump off to the last one. Shit. Woke up woof. I'm sorry. Bandbox. Alrighty. So we got our usual celebrity autograph. And this one's from Gem and the Holograms. Samantha Newark. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And this is actually going for a decent value as well. I've never watched Gem and the Holograms. I'm familiar with the cartoon, but wasn't a big fan. But apparently it has a pretty big following. Pretty big cult following to it. And this is selling for a decent amount. This is going for like 20 to 25, which is pretty standard for celebrity autographs in a box like this. But usually not that price for voiceover actors unless they're very famous. This voiceover actor is not particularly famous, but this cartoon has a good following. So it is still getting that pretty standard $20 to $25 range. Very surprised about. So, again, haven't watched the show myself. I'm sure it's great. And I always like the autographs from the cartoons. And the cartoon box, I signed up for it, by the way. I'm not sure when it's coming. I signed up for it a while ago, and I still haven't gotten the first box, so I'm not sure when the original one was slated for, but I'm pretty excited for it, so when that comes, we'll be hearing from that as well. Next, we got Shang-Chi, and I got the upgraded print, which is nice, and this is a pretty standard one. The other one was blue. The value on this one, I'm just going off the standard one, not the upgraded one, was right around $10. It wasn't super popular. The prints are kind of going for less and less these days, unless it's something really cool or by a really famous artist, and this wasn't really either, so it's about $10. Next, we got a flag. I'm not going to go through the trouble to unfold the whole thing. I'll show the picture of it. We had the option of two. One was really funny about farts, and the other one was like, meh. Both from The Simpsons. I got the one that's less funny, the one I didn't want as much. But the flags are going for around $10 to $15. It's pretty hard to sell a flag like this because what are you going to use it for, really? And only the one that talks about farts is the one that's really selling. The other one, not as popular, so you're probably not going to be able to sell it. But again, around a $10 or $15 range. Then we got a pin. And believe it or not, this is one of the times I didn't want the upgraded one. I like Slimer, don't get me wrong, but the one that wasn't an upgraded one was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And he was one of my favorite characters. So, of course, I never get a 1-up unless it's the character I want. Then I get the 1-up and the character I don't want as much. Don't get me wrong, still love Slimer, big fan, so I'm still happy to get it. But I've said it once, I've said it a million times. BAM just really needs to do away with this whole 1-up system, especially with the pins, because there's one basic one and 3 1-up options. And it makes it just nearly impossible to collect the full set, so they really just need to do away with that. Just have the option of 4 different pins. That way people can collect a full set if they want to without spending a fortune, if even that, because even if you want to buy the 1-up ones, most of them aren't even for sale online, so they really just need to do away with that system. I'm not a fan of it, other people aren't a fan of it, so just come on, do away with it, no big deal. If they still want to do that with the art prints, that's fine, the autographs having a different one, sure, but the pins, just put them all in there. Just make it easy for everyone. That's my opinion, and the pin is going to get a $12 to $15 value. Next, we have the Artist Select card. Something for the longest time I was giving no value to because for a long time, they didn't have any value. But this month, this actually has a decent value. So the artist is Jason Miller. So they do these, they're like fan art cards. They're just basically people that get the box that they kind of do artwork for free for most of the time. But every once in a while, they'll get someone that has their own following. That's an actual artist that has their own kind of cult following, and this is one of them. So he is an actual artist. I'm not sure what he's done in the popular mainstream, but he has if it's the same person, an Etsy where he sells similar cards like this, and he has quite a following. And the value on this card is going for like $10 to $15 and selling for that much, which is, again, very surprising. Something I assumed was valueless and was giving like $2 to $3 value for. This has a decent value. So Same with the artist print. Most of them are pretty worthless, only worth like $10, but every once in a while, famous artist comes along, or someone that just has a big social media presence, someone that has a lot to sell or something like that, and then that brings the value to it. And this is one of the instances there. So I'm glad they're doing that. I'm glad they're actually finding people. I don't know if it was intentional, by the way, if they sought out someone that has a following, or if it was just blind luck. That is hard to say. But if they did do it on purpose, I hope they do that more. I hope they actually take some time to find not only good artists, but ones that have some value to them, because that gives value to the card, which gives value to the box. Same with the artist print. For a while, they were doing really famous artists, and they kind of just steered away from that and just kind of went with whoever was available, which I get. You know, it's hard to get like popular artists, but try as you can to get people that are a little more popular and give this some more value. So this time around, the artist print was cheap, and the card is worth a decent value. So that brings our total value on the low end of 62 and on the high end of 80. So pretty decent. Like I said, I personally wasn't a fan of a lot of things in here. Like I don't know Gem the Holograms that well. Print was okay. Didn't really like the flag. I like the pin. I'm not familiar with the card artist, but it doesn't matter what I think because other people are a fan of it, and it's selling for high prices. So that's where the value comes from, and that's where the score comes from. So I'm going to give this one a 7.5 out of 10 because it did really well. Gave some variety. It was all exclusive items. Gave decent value, things that have a high resale value. If you didn't like it, you shouldn't have any problem selling it. So that's pretty much what you'd expect. Again, not mind-blowing. They didn't blow us out of the water, but they did a good job. On the high end, it's double the value. On the low end, like pretty close to it. This ends up being like roughly a $40 box, depending on how much you're paying for shipping. So pretty decently there. So they did a very good job there, and I liked it. And again, one more time, not my personal taste, but other people liked it, so that's all that counts. So 7.5 out of 10 on that box. So yeah, that was it. Just evening this out. Again, these were all the boxes of September, leftover ones that didn't really have a place. These in-between months, bi-monthly boxes, and then there's going to be a month where it's just the monthly boxes, which there are very few of these days, and these are it. So there you go. Those are the boxes of December, and hopefully Loot Crate sends their box out soon so we can do the boxes of October, hopefully before Christmas. But who knows? We're kind of at the mercy of their shipping schedule. So that's it for this monthly review. We got a movie coming up next week. Ghostbusters just kind of came up out of nowhere, so I'm definitely going to go see it, and we will be talking about it, giving a review, and talking about some of the things in the movie here. Once again, thank you to all the people that weigh in on the discussions. I always appreciate your comments. I love to see them and read them. And for the people that talk to me in person, I like that as well too. So thank you all for your support. As always, in the comments, let me know what you think, thoughts, comments, concern, what you want to see, what you don't want to see. Anything you want to talk about there, we'll get to it there. So thank you all for watching and supporting. See you on the next video. Love you all. Peace.